All right, boys, we've had a chance to kind of devour this thing a little bit. I'm going to start with you, Val. Your biggest takeaway right now from the bracket is what?
Yeah, I was curious, Jeff, of how many – we knew the Big 12 in terms of those top 16, seeds would be there. But I was curious would anybody else get more than two? And you look up and see the Big East with Marquette, Xavier, Connecticut to be able to get three teams, on the top four lines. And obviously, following the Big East closely, I was just really curious. You knew Purdue would be there. Would Indiana get in there? But you knew it wouldn't be more than two. You knew the SEC had Alabama, Tennessee, probably not a third team. So I was just curious on, hey, would anybody else get more than two teams on those top lines? And the Big East, the selection committee put the Big East with Marquette and Xavier and obviously Connecticut getting in those top lines. So that was just something that I was curious about and got the question answered, obviously.
Hey, Tyler, you upset Carolina isn't playing in the NIT?
I wanted them to play. I like it when teams play. I don't care what it is, the perception around it. But, yeah, I am a little bit. I wanted them to play and grow a little bit. But, hey, that's where we're at.
I think they checked out. I think they tapped out, Tyler. They're done. This was too hard for them. This was too – they actually saved you from some more misery. That's what they did.
There's a part of me that wanted to play the bench and see what we had there. But, yeah, I think they're ready to pack it in. And who knows what's going to happen next year, who's going to be on that. I mean, a lot of rumors. I was going to see the NIT, whether they accept it or not, was going to be pretty telling. But, hey, that's what they wanted to do. So,
all right, let's move on. What was your biggest takeaway from today from the bracket?
For me, the biggest takeaway is the tournament's still wide open. I still don't have a clue who the front runner is. And I like Bama, but they're young. I'm not sold on them. But for me, I'm just looking at, I can't find somebody or a team that I'm really confident in. But also, NC State getting that 11 seed. I thought they might be a little higher. I thought they're kind of a sleeper team and got some momentum. But Duke being a 5 seed was kind of shocking to me as well. I thought they'd be much higher than that. Those are my two biggest takeaways.
Speaking of that, before we get to Doug, your take, Tyler, on John Shire. Your take on Shire and the job he's done as a first-year head coach with a young team dealing with injuries. Give me a grade, what you give John Shire so far.
I'd give him an A-. And I was a little, I've talked a little smack about Shire because he's a head coach at Duke. But he's done a great job. Their team's been injured. He's coaching a bunch of freshmen. I think Filipowski is a very, very talented freshman, but he's come along very well. And Roach has kind of been in and out. They really haven't had a lot of veteran experience on the court playing with the freshmen. Proctor's coming on at the right time. So I think, they're playing their best basketball right now heading into the tournament. I think he's done a great job of kind of mixing the young guys in and figuring it out.
Doug, what do you got?
Biggest takeaway? I was curious. I see a world where Texas should have been a 1 seed and not Houston. So it's like, it's kind of hard sometimes to understand what they really value, but in terms of quad 1 wins, overall record, just how you look, the Pitt thing, it almost felt like Pitt was in the tournament for a long time. And nothing really supports that other than traditionally the wins they have ACC wise are good, but that's not how we do it. But the biggest one actually is from the ACC. I told you, Duke, I'm a fan. I think this team has a chance to go to the Final Four. And, as they're comprised, as the roster is comprised, they've only lost 1 game together. Right. So, and like that to me is one of the stories of this tournament is how many teams have the Bama thing is all the off the court stuff and the weight of that. Right. With UCLA, you lose your best all around defender, your second leading scorer. How do you deal with that? And in short order, right? We have other teams that have, I would assume McCullough's going to come back. You and I both think that Bill's going to coach next weekend, but what does that look like for Kansas? But Duke is healthy. And when they've been healthy, they're beating everybody up. And then they just won the Duke Invitational again. So I thought they were a little underseeded, which is a rarity we ever say this about Duke, but if we're going to be fair. And then there's a bunch of like curious seeds, like what has Maryland done to be on the 8-9 line? And then
they were good enough early. They were good early, non-conference.
Until UCLA came in and disemboweled them on their own home floor. So it is really hard to tell in the middle of that Big Ten. I've covered the conference all year long. It's hard because they're all very different, you know, and they're all missing something, but they all have kind of something. And then the last one, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, you said like 8-9 line has always been high major underachievers. I remember you tweeting Florida Atlantic. I was like, no way Florida Atlantic's in the 8-9 line. Bullshit. And yet there they are.
Bullshit. They're the one at large, one bid league team, and you're going to put them in the 8-9 line? Like, come on. Why? I don't like it.
If they win the first one, gets really interesting.
It does. Here's my biggest complaint. My biggest complaint with all this is, how is Kansas shipped out west and behind Houston when they won the Big 12 regular season? I get they lost in the tournament, but they lost without a Hall of Fame coach. And they're behind a Houston team that played in a mid-major plus league this year. And they're shipped out west. And look at what they drew. I mean, holy shit. They got Arkansas, Illinois in the second round. And then if they get past those two talented teams, they might get UConn in the Sweet 16. Like
they might get Iona as well.
They could get Iona. I know you we'll get to that. We will get to the Rick Pitino, Danny Hurley matchup. And if Danny Hurley is hiding under the covers right now, scared of having to go up against Rick Pitino.
Hiding under the covers.
Hey, listen, I wouldn't want to draw Rick Pitino. That's all I got to tell you.
I understand that. You like Danny's.
I'm kidding.
You got to find a better line than that one. Anyway. All right. So I hate the look who's in the bracket. Like most of those brackets, you only play one team. They beat each other up.
For Kansas, Kansas, you draw Arkansas maybe in the second round, Doug. 2 lottery picks.
Look, I don't think Kansas is nearly as talented as the results would tell you. I think Bill's
Jeff, there's no easy way, man.
There's no easy way. Like
Tyler, you know this.
Yeah.
Once you're in there, you think anybody knew they were going to draw St. Peter's last year and have a hard time?
No, but who would you rather have? The winner of Iowa-Auburn, which is what Houston has. I'm just saying, if you flip it right now, you get Iowa-Auburn, and then maybe like a Drake.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Iowa's a bad matchup for Kansas. Iowa because they'll run up and down with them. So look, Jeff. First of all, we act like this is what 8-9s always are. 8-9s are always high major underachievers.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah.
I know. I played in an 8 and I played in a 9. Okay, 98 and 99, and we got beat by the 1 seed both years, and both years they were great games. It's not really like Arkansas is not great. They recruited really well, but they
didn't have Nick Smith all year.
Okay, are they killing people now since they got Nick Smith back?
No, but it's going to take time. Like, you're going to write him off? Last I checked,
so what you're saying is despite the fact, and I agree with you, he's going to get better the more he plays. But so you believe that a team should be, how many seeds higher should they be because they added Nick Smith, who's had a modest increase in
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like,
that's what you're saying.
Brutal draw. It's a brutal draw. That's what I'm trying to say is if you flip it.
What do you think Arkansas and Illinois are saying? Like, dude, we got to play each other first.
But put Kansas where Houston is. They get 2 games. They get to Kansas City.
You know what? Honestly, if I'm in Kansas City, I'm done going to downtown. I'm down there in the power and light. I get to go to Vegas.
All right, we're moving on. We're moving on here. All right. The first round game that you are dying to see.
The first fan base in the history of Earth to go, I'd rather go to Kansas City than go to Vegas. Things that people don't say, especially in March, is I'd rather go to Kansas City.
Tyler can get to Poplar Bluff. What do you mean?
That's a long drive.
All right, Laval. The first round matchup, first of all, that you're circling as an upset special. All right. It's a little different. Give me your upset special.
How big of an upset are we talking?
I mean, listen, I'm not going a 9 over an 8. I'm going like it's got to be an 11, 12, 13, 14, like something like that.
Oof.